time to find it.
Woo. Go on ahead, say that. Husband.
So, just because it's another misconception that woman may find as well, as far as he who finds a wife and just sitting there just waiting around, like you just sitting in your crib all day, like, yo, he gonna come knocking on my door, I'm waiting for him, God, I'm being obedient, you said to wait for him, he coming. No, you're gonna have to get out there. So it's more to it, and you may see this guy, and I also agree with Lynette, it is okay to approach a man. It's okay to help him to find you.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, he may not be looking. He may not be ready. Like, 8 years ago when I met Lynette, for one, I was in a relationship. And for two, ill.
Yeah.
Nobody want her.
The feeling was mutual, trust me.
Exactly. So, it's like 8 years ago when we met, I wasn't fond of her then. So...
Yeah, we definitely, 8 years ago, we definitely were not ready for each other, period. Between, our heads just were not in the right place. We were completely in a different space back when, back then. So, like Daniel said, it wasn't time for us to find each other. The comment that just came through, we also have surface ministers and pastors.
Woo!
Sheesh. Preaching off emotion and opinions and not the word of God, so we aren't being fed truth. So there is no sword to prick our spirits. How can you preach a word to me when you're not in the word? You can't preach the conviction I need because there's no power. So we remain stuck in the trap of not knowing who and what God has for us because we have no power. Yes. Ruth approached Boaz. Yes, she walked up on his property to be seen. Don't trip. I know that's right. Sometimes you got to put yourself out there to be seen.
That's right.
But yeah, that man, yeah, and that's definitely a good one. Like
that's a whole nother topic, right man. There, Danny. Come on.
But to tie it into tonight's topic, it's like you have to have, that goes back to foundation. You gotta have that us as women especially. When we're not married, we still have to have that person over us, to be able to help to guide us. Yes, of course, God is the ultimate person that's going to be above us. Excuse me. But also you have to find the right place of worship. I know some people don't believe in going to church, and I understand the concept of church starts within, and I got that, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. But I also agree that the fellowship is important as well. And having that person, that pastor or bishop or whatever it is that you're the leader of your place of worship is called. To be over you, to help you to learn more and understand more, and be able to just understand some of the things that we may not understand on our own, or may not be able to understand on our own.
Yeah, and with that, finding the right church is not about the show on Sunday.
Right. So
there are some pastors out there who can put on a performance like no other.
Yep, like what Danny said.
Like what Danny was said, a lot of them can be service ministers. So finding a good teaching church, a good teaching ministry where they're literally teaching you the Bible, and not just the Sunday message of who let the dogs out.
Right.
The title for this week's sermon. You're like, what? And had you thinking, I've been drinking. Like, what? Like, what's really going on here? So, it's not always about the messenger, but it's about the message. And it's about the word, and really being fed and taught the word in a proper way puts it all into perspective. So, definitely, you want to find someone to feed you the word of God.
Yeah.
Every coach has a coach. Every player has a coach. Every pastor has a pastor. Someone is coaching someone to be better. So you always have to look for someone to feed you and to give you what you need. You can't effectively go out and teach everything without someone who has taught you something. Yeah. So that's real important. So, with that, it's okay for a woman to go out to meet a man, but it's all in that mentality. You're not going to be looking at that man like, although I have heard some stories where the woman says, you know what, that's going to be my husband, plain and simple.
Yeah.
And whether it was at that time or not, even if it was 10 years later, and you still wondering why why y'all not married, he didn't find you yet.
Mm-hmm.
And even if who God has for you is the man that you've been with for 10 years, until he finds you, until he finds that you are worthy, whatever reason that may be, and it's so many different reasons that a man can find you worthy of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, at the moment that Lynette and I became one, when we got together, it was automatic. Like, oh yeah, we getting married. Like,
yeah,
we just knew. Even though all those years prior, it was like, ew. Like, why would I want to be with her? Why would she want to be with me?
Yeah, you know, and that all goes back to discernment, like we were saying. You know, I believe that God spoke to both of us at that time. It was like, all right, you two are now ready for each other. You know, so we heard him and we were obedient, and it's been amazing. Yes, we've had some rough times. Definitely had some rough times.
Mostly all in the beginning.
Yeah.
When we were still sifting through the baggage, which we all carry into our relationships.
Oh, that baggage.
We go in our relationships like we're going on vacation, y'all.
That baggage was heavy.
We go into the relationships like we're about to go away for a month or two, and we pack up all that baggage. We get all that stuff, and we bring it in there. We gotta take it into the relationship. Guess what? When you go into a relationship, don't pack no baggage. It's hard.
Yeah.
But that baggage, you're not going on a trip, y'all. You're not going on a trip. So yeah, go ahead, Lynette. I'm sorry.
But yeah, like I was saying, you know, we had some rough times and everything, but you know, just like you said, we were sifting through baggage, still getting to know not just each other, but still getting to know our new selves. You know, because at that particular time, we were doing a whole lot of growing together, or excuse me, a whole lot of growing separately. You know, dealing with some of the things that we've been through in the past, and just learning how to live just our new lives in the way that, you know, we've been praying for years to be, you know, to live. And Sadarius said, if it takes him 10 years, then he don't want you, move on.
That's not entirely true, though. It's not.
Yeah, it depends.
It depends.
It depends.
It depends.
Now, if you're being strung along, you're still in that friend zone, you know, and you're doing, now if you're doing those wifely things, and he's holding on to you for them 10 years, and he still didn't propose, then maybe he's not that godly man that wants to get married.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it could be, wow, I mean, why we gotta force the title? We good, we chilling.
Mm-hmm.
You happy, I'm happy, we good. You know, so it takes some evaluation. I knew you, how many years? I knew you since 08.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
08.
So yeah, I knew you since 08. So by the time so I knew you 5 years, you know, but we weren't interested in each other. But you know, I could have easily said, well, why I did. I've asked that a couple of times. Well, I wonder why it took so long for God to put. He knew that we were going to be good together. How come he didn't? It would not have worked back in the day.
Cause we wasn't ready.
It would not have worked back in the day.
We weren't ready. I wasn't ready to find you,
and I wasn't ready to be found. I was too busy being found out in the clubs.
Yeah, but back to that comment. You know, if it takes him 10 years and he still don't want you, move on. He may want you. So it's different situations. He may want you if he is working hard towards something, he's progressing, he's moving forward, and you're not giving him everything, and he's still with you, then he may be a good guy. But it all depends on the situation, and as we talked about earlier, that discernment. So, you know, if you walking with God and you had a relationship with God, after a certain amount of time, your discernment level is going to rise, and you'll be like, okay, either yes or no, you got to go. So You'll know. Mm-hmm. You'll know.
Yeah. So it was one thing that I wanted to ask you.
Ooh, let's hear it.
So one of the more popular things that's been going on lately that I've been seeing floating around on Facebook and different things like that
Uh-oh. Facebook. We already know it's about to be something bad, yo, because hardly anything you find on Facebook has any substance nowadays.
So, how do you feel about the woman getting down on one knee to propose to the man?
Pure foolishness. Okay?
But what if?
No, ain't no but what if nothing.
But I'm just saying, like, what if?
No, don't turn into your hood rat voice. Don't do it.
But I'm saying though, like, what if Ray Ray and them, like, what if Ray Ray was scared to get married, or he was scared because he was hurt so many times in the past, and I already know he not gonna propose because of that, but I want to get married, so.
That's why our divorce rate is 50%. That's why half of every marriage fails. Because of foolishness.
Yeah.
And that's one aspect of foolishness. You know, that completely goes against everything. You know, you see what you want and you like, I'm just gonna go get it. He ain't ready. 9 out of 10 times that's not gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
9 out of 10 times. But you'll have those occasions where it does work, and you know, there are situations obviously that, you know, you go into a situation that's just plain craziness, but you know, you guys build that relationship with God, and then y'all grow in that sense. So it is possible for it to work, but it's pure foolishness. Don't ask me to marry me. If I don't ask you, then I don't want to marry you, dog. I'm just keep it straight up with you. Like, I'm a different type of a species of man. I can say that honestly. So, I mean, me personally, if I'm with you, I know whether I want to marry you or not. I don't know if all men are the same, but I got a good feeling that the most of them are the same with that sense. If we know we want to marry you, we going to ask you to marry us.
Right.
But if it's any kind of doubts or questions as to whether this is going to work or not, no, for what? Mm-hmm. You give me what I want now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that goes back to doing those wifely things. If you give me what I want and I'm still not asking you to marry me, it don't matter how much time is in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably not going to ask you because I already got what I want. What I need, that finalization paperwork for. Get out of my face.
Yeah,
like that's just being real.
And that to me is just starting off on a horrible foundation, because it's like, what if that man was going to propose? You know, what if he was going to propose next week? And now here you go demasculating him and taking away his, you know, his position, what he was supposed to be doing, and you recording it, and you're just taking his whole shine. You're gonna record it. I saw the one video, and they were in the middle of a bar or club or some mess, and she's in this cute little dress, and he's sitting up there with his homies. They both got he got his drink in his hand. She gets down on one knee in this nasty club with this nasty floor and proposes to this man. And to me, he looks so completely awkward. Because it's like, what do you say at that point? Like, if you love your girl, but you know she done went crazy and set all this mess up for you, and she's recording it, probably doing Facebook Live now, these days. Like, what do you do in that moment? That's just, like I said, it's just so completely crazy to me. It's just so crazy.
What do I do? Ooh, what do I do in that moment?
I don't even want to know what you do, because you mean and rude.
No, but you use the key word there that has to be mentioned again. Demasculate.
Yeah. Like
it's not just the woman demasculating a man, it's the man demasculating a man. Men are men nowadays.
Yeah.
And that's not even saying that men are homosexuals, but just in general, men aren't men nowadays. Even straight men aren't men nowadays. Mm-hmm. The way that society, culture, the media, the news, whatever it is, fashion, whatever you want to call it, men don't act as men, they don't dress as men. So it's a whole different world.
Yeah.
And straight up is not the word that God designed it to be, plain and simple. So how do we get back to men being men and doing things the right way?
Well, first